Got it.
Hi, everyone. It's Michelle Crawford here, your friend and cannabis health coach and educator. And today, in a continuing series to promote my new spring homemade health class of 2024, I am bringing on my kitchen witches, my miracle makers, my former students and current students, because it's not just a class, it's a lifestyle. And once you get started, yeah, you really can't stop. So let's just bring on one of my most favorite kitchen witches. Not that I don't love all my kitchen witches the same, I do. But I'd love to introduce you to someone that I met at Cannabis Coaching Institute when I was a grad mentor there. He was in our educator cohort, one of my most favorite students to interact with in the Slack channel because he has a great sense of humor. Welcome, my student friend. I don't know, hero in a lot of ways. It's certain, and one of my most favorite people to talk to about cannabis health stuff, kitchen witchery, life in general, and some of our deeper thoughts. Lou Barrera, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Oh, thank you, Michelle. My name is Lou Barrera. If you want my CV or something, I'm retired, so I really don't work for a living anymore. I used to work for NASA, which was a lot of fun. Got to fire rocket engines as part of the shtick and process a lot of paper. But I retired back in 2020, and I've been on a journey for learning kind of thing. You know, I recommend retirement to everybody when you get a chance. I'm never bored. I haven't wondered what I was going to do for a minute since I pulled the plug and like got out of the rat race.
That's good advice. Some people are afraid of retirement because of the lack of structure it will introduce into their lives. But, you know, I think you're a testament to like the beauty of that gift.
If you're curious, if you like doing anything, hobbies, reading, learning. I mean, my parents were both perpetual students
Yeah.
until the day dementia hit them. So maybe I got that from them, but I love learning something new every day. And the world is phenomenal because it will give you something new every day. Whether you like it or not, it's another story. But you get it, you know.
Yes. I will say this. I think if you love learning like we both do, and many in our community, the mystery of life and all of that reveals itself more and more, especially as a scientist. And I have a science leaning as well. The beauty of discovery and learning and learning and learning is like it really expands your concept of how much there is to know, the great mystery. It becomes even more mysterious. I feel like the more you know, the more you realize there is to know and you'll never know it. And it's humbling in a good way. And
Life has so much that in our hurry and in our focus sometimes we lose track of. And, as children, we see the magic in everything. Then we, grow up, right? And then we start like, well, we got to focus on the real things.
focus. Yeah.
If you stop and take time, you can find the magic again. I'm seeing rainbows now, technicolor, everything.
And what a beautiful way to live. So we mentioned that we met at CCI. Do you want to share a little bit about like was that part of your just learning your learning journey, deciding to take the educator program at Cannabis Coaching Institute?
Oh, boy. Okay. The short story, I guess.
Yeah.
I had some health problems with my back
Mhm.
starting in 2013. Um, and at the time, did a bunch of testing. It came down to this is something to be living with. And so I started on the opiate route. And it really, 7 years later, when they finally said, hey, this is what it is. This won't kill you, but you'll die with it. One of those lines. It was just like, oh, that's great. It
Thanks.
won't
I'm
kill
so
you,
glad.
but um, and really walking that razor's edge of taking opiates for pain is a slippery slope. It can so easily, it's not the razor's edge that cuts you, it's fallen off. Oh man. So that's not, I was looking for alternates.
Yeah.
And right around then, let's call it 2018, legalized cannabis was coming around. There started to be more information. I was familiar with the plant from decades ago during my adolescence, shall we call it.
Sure.
So,
Very common,
yeah,
normal experience growing up.
yeah, yeah, and decades after my adolescence. But,
Yes.
that was in the past. And so I was curious. And I started looking I was working for the federal government at the time, which means I was in a drug testing program. So it really was something that I tried when I had time, like a month before I was going to be off work for a while.
Mhm.
So I tried it to see what would happen. And I found out, wow, it really works better than the Vicodin. It works better than the Oxy. So it's like, okay, what am I going to do with that? I'm not ready to retire yet. And the government says you can't do this. So I started looking into it.
Mhm.
And I went to a local dispensary and talked to their uh, herbologist that did a lot of the formulations. She pointed me towards Wake and Bake. So I started looking at Wake and Bake, and I was
The
thinking an
blog of
educator.
Corinne Tobias, you mean?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
right. I was like,
Yeah.
we just
No,
wait a
no,
minute.
yeah, no, no, not that. This is the real Wake and Bake.
Yeah, yeah,
Trademark TM, whatever, copyright. And so I got into the educator class, and it was wonderful.
yeah.
And I found out that science, hard science, real science. I mean, my background, my graduate degree is in chemistry, and I did work as a rocket scientist. So,
It's so awesome. Woo!
it's yeah, it's a
It's
joke.
hard work. It's not all that, but it's great and I love it.
No, so in any case, I did a bunch of reading, and I realized how much we actually have a large wealth of hard scientific data, real papers, not people out with a political agenda or some ideology, but real data that says the stuff works.
Mhm.
Uh, what is this stuff? Well, by the way, I'm on cannabinoids right now. There may be endocannabinoids, but I'm still on cannabinoids. We all are on cannabinoids. And just the stigma and everything associated with it, you know. So I got over that, although, decades of the stigma is still something I struggle with. And took the educator class. It was great. I learned, but now I know this stuff works, whether it's CBD, CBG, THC, THCV, CBDV. I mean, just the plethora. And
All
these
the
all
options.
function.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then what do I do with it? Because as in general, Western mindset, it's lost the techniques and the ability
Yeah,
for herbal medicine. And so I saw your class, and I enjoyed our conversations, during the course.
yeah.
And so I joined, and I really found a group of like-minded people. We want to learn, we want to keep learning, but we also need hands-on and how-to. And that's the big thing. You can go to a dispensary and buy stuff, but by dint of the actual efficacy and how cannabinoids work in your body, we're all going to need a little tweaking here or there potentially. And so the on the shelf stuff is okay in a pinch. But for me, I wanted to find out what combinations work best for me. And to do that, I needed to do the formulation. And formulation's a big word, but it's simply cooking. I mean, I fry
Recipe.
eggs in the kitchen, you
Cooking.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
putting together the right, choosing the ingredients. You know what I mean? Like normalizing, making plant medicine with other words aside from formulation, although it is also that, and we can own that word as well. You know what I mean?
sure. And that's just it. And you turned me on to that great book about wise women and work centers by
Good one.
Wolf
Yeah, Storl, Wolf D. Storl.
Dora. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the old way, people looked at all plants as medicine. Every plant, it's on a spectrum. The question is how much of that plant is healthy and how much of it is toxic. All plants have that. Some of them only a little tiny bit is helpful, and more than that, it's poison.
All right.
So it also gave me new perspectives. I'm not just learning DIY for cannabis.
Right.
It's these teas that I like. I can do this with the teas. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we open our eyes to the world of medicine around us, plant, also food, like you were talking about a little bit. All the plants, some of them have made the sacrifice of being food, which is really great of them. You know what I mean?
But they're nutrition. They're nutritional medicine. They're not food. They're
And then
nutritional medicine.
you can expand your ideas to other kinds of medicine. Like when I buy a drum, it's medicine is made of the skin of the animal it was, you know what I mean? Like a deer medicine or bear medicine. And what does that even mean? How do you relate to this in your life? You know, the bear medicine of a drum made of a bear skin. Or how about just plain old laughter? The best medicine is all they always say, you know, being in a better mood, having happiness, enjoying your life. This is where I think especially cannabis can really help us get back in touch with that because of its natural euphoriant, you know, abilities. And what is that worth? Quite priceless, you know.
We look at the word euphoria. It's like, oh, you're doing drugs. Really?
Really?
Okay. If I laugh and I feel pretty good from that, is that doing a drug?
Doing a drug. And like how you were
Drug
saying, I'm on endocannabinoids right now. I mean, everybody is. We finally know about the endocannabinoid system. Thank you, science. I appreciate you, you know, for revealing the miracle that's already within us. And then as a mother myself, and I know you're a father, the transfer of endocannabinoids the natural way through breastfeeding. What? Am I a healer or a dealer? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I'm a mother. Are you joking me? This is life. It is, you know, sustaining life and causing people to thrive. Endocannabinoids, cannabinoids in general. So formulation was what kind of led you in understanding, embracing the lifestyle of the plant medicine working for you. That's great.
But we've lost over the millennia, this knowledge and this technique was ingrained into our society. And, it's been ripped out and we need to get back to it.
It's a what's that word? Not paradigm. Propaganda job for sure. I mean, obviously the prohibition of cannabis.
Oh, well, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's like I'm making a very I'm belittling almost the statement of how propaganda this plant medicine has been treated. You know what I mean? And what we think about it now being so distorted from what it is and can be. You know, so in homemade health we do practice. You know, making up our own formulations from different cannabinoids, and it is a centerpiece of our medicine making and doing it by hand together. I mean, all of us are separate. We do our own medicine making ourselves, but in community, which makes all the difference, right, Lou?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the sharing, which is part of the whole energy, to go woo on it.
Let's
Um,
go
you
woo
know,
with it. I mean, you know, my whole motto is make,
real.
take, share.
Well,
Let's go.
we denigrate the word woo woo, but really it's something that Western thought can't put in a box and sell. So, there are a few things like that, love. Well, they try to, but the little blue pills aren't love, you
No.
know?
I did a post about this. I'm promoting my class and I'm using like other people's posts that strike me and then connecting them to the idea of what we do at Homemade Health because it's just so much more than learning how to infuse a tincture, simple, easy, literally put a herb, dried herb in oil, heat it, strain it, done. Like, you know, you don't necessarily need to learn these facts about how to DIY cannabis medicine. What you do need, though, is encouragement, education, and the empowerment to do it. And that comes from the community, from me as the guide, from you, Lou, as part of the community, and from, you know, the students' actual DIYing and changing of like themselves through making their own medicine, taking it, and then learning to share about it, which is often a stumbling block, even for those of us who have so much healing in our heart to give to other people. I've heard from others in the class that the regular sharing that we do, talking, just speaking about taking our medicine, making it, has made it so much easier for them to share in a similar way. Like, hey, Julie, what'd you do last weekend? Oh, I stayed home and made some tinctures from my cannabis harvest. Oh my gosh, really? There are people who like couldn't say that before and can say it now, and that's a big deal.
It's like, what, community is a good thing? Oh, wait. You
Oh,
know, our species evolved with community and a healthy community and exchange and thoughts and talking,
mhm.
not the yelling, not the disparate malarkey that goes on these days, but real community.
Real
And
community
that's an important thing.
is. And the woo. A little story about woo. On my Instagram, if you guys want to follow me there, I'm Michelle Crawford.Cannacurious. Boom. And one of my latest posts in promoting this spring's homemade health class was a story that a woman told about Another person in their lifting class, older lady who brings the energy with woo. How? Whenever the trainer says, let's do something hard, there's this tendency in a group boot camp or whatever to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, hey, everybody, burpees, let's go. Oh, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? And that's the trainer, right? And this lady says, woo, everybody, let's do 100 push-ups. Woo is the first thing you're going to hear. And she, with that energy, that woo energy, by the end of class, this woman talking about it says, everyone in the class says woo. By the time we're done, all right, everyone, let's go. That's 2 laps for the end of class. And then we're going to stretch it out. The entire class now says, woo. And does that matter? Yeah, I really do think it does. So woo is real. And I hope to I think we have that in our community, which is why it's lasted despite even me being terrible sometimes at like sending out invitations and junk like that. That's my job. Those things.
You send it out on the right time. Again, time. What's the right time? It said monthly.
We were talking about this before. It's
yeah. Yeah, put time in a box for me, will you?
It's so important.
Sell it.
Yeah, well, we are going to sell time in the box in terms of this is an 11-week class. It's 10 weeks of meetings. We're taking 1 week off. I don't know if you know this, Lou, because I don't know if I told you, but we're taking 420 week off.
You mentioned that. Yeah, sure. Oh, cool. Okay.
And then we'll be making medicine straight through until Memorial Day, because I think it's very important. Maybe it's because I still have a little kid at home, a little kindergartner, but we need summers off. So, and then we have fall class where we do it all again. We do it all again. Yeah, because we've run out mostly, right? So where are you now, Lou, with your cannabis DIYing? Where are you now?
Well, I think one thing that we didn't bring up that I find helpful with the community is it prompts me to get off my inertia laden bottom and do something. It's like class is coming up, and it's not like class is coming up. It's kind of like, I want to have something to talk about besides my normal babble that I could go on for days with. So it's good. I'm been stalled. I had a small dorm fridge in my office and brought it home in my garden. It's been sitting, not doing anything, not even plugged in. And I've been buying wholesale lots of hemp from Horn
Creek hemp, right?
And it's like, well, I'm not going to get all of this now. So I made a cannabis cooler, stuffed it in my fridge so it stays, fresher longer, more better longer, less decomposition of the cannabinoids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to process a whole lot of it, and I've been doing diddly. I do once every 2 months, I make a big batch of CBG and the CBN, and then we're good for a couple of months. Then it's like, we're running out. Got to go make some more. Yeah, as opposed to putting it in the jar, making some syringefuls of the extract. I mean, having all this stuff prepped, so in a pinch, I got to go do this, but I've got this for now.
You do have a great story there. That is one of my favorite things. Why it's worth it for me to teach about concentrate making is because of this. This, to me, my personal reason that I am even invested in teaching people about, I have it right here, the Source Turbo, and making your own concentrates at home is for this ease that you're referring to right now, Lou.
Oh, yeah. And the gadgets are great. The bottom line is you don't need the gadgets. It'll just take you time and technique.
And a little bit more money.
Time is money. I think there's an equation in there somewhere. So, but the gadgets make it like, oh yeah, push the button, walk away, come back, push the button. It makes it so simple. You can turn your extract into an oil base without doing anything but letting it sit there and evaporate for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You can.
Sure can. You absolutely can. I'm not going to tell you can't, because it's not true. You can.
Well, you can decarb stuff in a mason jar in your oven. You can.
You can.
as opposed to, oh, I stick it in the little easy bake oven, push the button, I'm back in 2 hours and it's ready.
Do some
Um,
YouTubing, just come back to it, Yeah. Freeze you up. And at the same time, you're making medicine. I mentioned to you before we went live with the call here that my son Kari, who's 23, just made his own CBD oil of his own volition. I can't make these kids, even as adults, do things. I'm just admitting my failures as a
oh,
mom.
that's normal.
It's so
That's
normal.
normal.
Yeah, it's super normal.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
telling you, yeah. So here's how it happened. He got some gummies of CBD, took like 130 milligrams and felt great. His anxiety that he carries, I know, right? And he was like, Mom, is that okay to take 130 milligrams of CBD? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's totally fine.
Your body will tell you.
Yeah. And he really enjoyed it. And I was so, and it had nothing to do with it. These were gummies. And he comes back and is like, I feel really dumb. I'm not going to buy any more gummies because, like, I know we have CBD here. Like, this is so stupid, Mom. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, yeah, babe. So he's like, let's make some CBD oil or extract. Which one do you want? And he picked oil. I said, that's great. We made a whole bunch of CBD oil, and he used the Arden FX, the decarboxylator and infusing machine that we've been discussing a little bit. And literally, he had a moment where he was like, that was so simple. I think I'm going to take your class because this is dumb, Mom. Like, that was so simple. I don't know why I thought it was so much harder.
Is it, it's like people that don't I'm afraid to go in the kitchen and cook.
Yeah.
The biggest hurdle is your thought,
Yeah.
because the technique itself is real basic. Uh, we've
And
been
I think
doing this since the Stone Age. So it's not like it's not high tech. It really isn't. You
you
just
do
got to get over it mentally.
you do have to get over it mentally, and you have to be there for the right moment for people. Like, I really, as much as I endeavor now to stay in business, what I mean is continue to offer this class consistently for, I don't know, years, as long as I feel like doing it, as long as it kind of takes. I feel like consistency and being available is going to help me with that second part that I just mentioned, like meeting people when they're ready. Because Kari is my 23-year-old son. He could have been ready anytime before this, but no, he was not. You know what I mean?
We all have our own time.
You.
We all have our own pace.
And my goal is now to just exist in some format so that it's this knowledge and this experience is, can still do its job of helping bring people into homemade health, into plant medicine and DIYing and all of that. So
Yeah.
let's see, you're using the class as normal as many others in our
Motivator.
class. Huh?
Yeah. Motivator. And
Motivator, happily, like, and a
yeah,
good one too. And it gets it
yeah.
done on a twice yearly basis. I think more than that would just be like a lot, you know what I mean? And then less than that is like not enough.
When you look at something and you too much of a regimen on it, it can be a fun sponge. You
Fun
know, it,
sponge. Yeah.
this is fun to me, getting in there and cooking, whether I'm cooking food or cooking cannabis. I enjoy it. It's relaxing. It's something I can make that either feeds people or it helps heal.
Heals people. Exactly. Helps them heal themselves. That's the main takeaway, as always. All of our endeavors are ultimately, I have confidence, and especially in my spiritual life as a like leader and in my shamanism, that it's us, our bodies and our spirits are able to heal themselves when we give them the right environment, inputs, nutrients. We make the right choices with our lives. All of those things are what really leads to like true total health, you know and it has not much to do with, not it doesn't it does have to do with cannabis, of course, or medicines that we take, but it's everything. The food that we eat, the entire health of our environment is reflected in our health and our choices, right?
Well, and it's this mindset, the change from big pharma Western to a more holistic or healthy or
And independent.
earth-based. Yeah, big pharma gives you something that does something to your body. It adds something. It brings something new in. Cannabis lets your body do what it does naturally. It doesn't inject something new into the process. It aids your body to help its own internal processes to function better. to go where you were supposed to go to begin with. But, the random variability of DNA, chromosomes, everything, our bodies have this wonderful dynamic potential, but it can be a two-edged sword. And augmenting what we have naturally with cannabis, which is also natural, not the synthetic cannabinoids, but like the phyto or the endocannabinoids. How much more natural does it get? How much more in sync? Or the energy becomes very much one with us rather than forcing something acute into us.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that totally. And let's go one step deeper, if you don't mind me going here. It's that, the book Cannabis Health Index by Uwe Blessings and his holistic overview viewpoint, that there are emotional, usually, and traumatic bases to a lot of people's disease, and symptoms and suffering, basically. And in shamanism, it's exactly the same thing. It's the holistic view of someone's, entire life experience, and how things that can happen when we're younger, and almost everybody has terrible things that happen when you're younger and trying to survive to be an adult, can definitely become real health problems as we get older. As a matter of fact, pretty much like everything's like that. Cannabis is,
Yes, it is.
I know it is. It's real. This is the truth.
It
Okay.
is.
Western
Yeah.
medicine, the reason why it's failing in that way is because it doesn't address this part, really, the underlying emotional root causes of the diseases and the suffering that we have. I mean, it's terribly simple, you know what I mean? And horrifying at the same time, the power of our emotional traumas over our lives. And coming out of those, addressing those fears, these are people's worst difficulties. Like, it's very hard for people, I think, to learn to accept their inner child traumas, things like that, and embrace and like heal from that. And at the same time, that's exactly what's needed. Where does cannabis fit in all of this? I mean, don't meet the plant unless you want to start like a journey on this. It will want to heal you. It will lead you down a path of healing, which will inevitably include spiritual healing, because it's the basis of our entire lives. So the physical healing that you will experience and the mental healing that you might be experiencing, if your problems are more in the like anxiety, depression zone of things, all of that's just going to converge someday in this lifestyle to dealing with your spiritual issues, you know what I mean, or emotional. And we have in cannabis such a great ally for that, like you were saying, because it helps us heal from within. It helps our bodies heal themselves and our spirits. I'm really grateful to cannabis for this. I wonder if you comment on what I just said.
Absolutely. I think it comes. I think I hate to keep on bashing Western medicine because I think Western medicine has its place. Acute issues,
Triage,
acute,
acute, yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But it's limited by our own vision. If we look at our body's metabolism, we look at how our body actually functions, there are so many incredible tiny little levers
Yeah.
pull that we can't even count with all our supercomputers. We have no clue.
No.
I remember listening to a talk Bonnie Goldstein was giving, Dr. Goldstein, and she was talking about the study they're doing with autistic children.
Yeah.
And they said there were like 80 different metabolite measures that they had, but they couldn't even run a testing square with that. So they limited it down to 60. And then when they finally looked at the group they were testing, they dropped it down to 12. So it's like, how many variables? So our creation, our system that we are living in has more variables. It's something that we just struggle to comprehend.
Oh yeah.
And assuming Western medicine with its limited number of levers can handle a system with thousands of levers without tripping a few of the wrong ones on occasion. Cannabis is a natural multi-lever healing. So using something that occurs naturally, that interacts with something that we have, all of us, in our bodies, makes much more sense if it can do the job, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I
Uh,
think that's where
and
oh, sorry.
no, that's along the lines of what you were saying.
I mean,
Trauma.
along the lines
It's
of our group, the spiritual dynamic of our group, just encouragement, friendship, all that joy, that's a really big part of it, healing. But also let's talk about like multi-cannabinoid formulation. Back to that, using the cannabis in a proper way and other plants, starting to have that relationship with it, and putting it to work in our bodies knowingly, intentionally, with this kind of thinking behind it is what we do in our class.
absolutely
Yeah.
trauma. It's a naturally occurring thing for us, unfortunately, fortunately, whatever.
Really.
But it deals with multi levers. It hits levers that we can't even think of. Stress, does anxiety, all these things are pulling levers that we can't even see or measure. We have reflections. Oh, you're this one up or that one down, and then we wonder, well, why am I having trouble sleeping? Why do I relate to people this way? Why do I have this feeling all the time?
Mm-hmm.
And all these things are from natural things that pull lots of levers that our Western pills can't even measure or see. So they come in with a big old mallet and start whacking levers. Gee, I don't know why it didn't balance out. Oh,
Let's trial and error some more. Isn't this fun?
yeah, absolutely. You didn't like that one?
Yeah.
Before I got to cannabis, I went through 6 or 8 of the latest pain medications, you know, and it really got to the point where it's going to be either opiates for the rest of my life or I really have to let's look at cannabis. And that was my own internal inertia that I didn't want to step back into that. And that was my mindset. And I didn't step back into that, and I'm using cannabis.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's your intention?
Yes.
You know, you don't have to just use THC. There's lots of cannabinoids out there. There's lots of cannabinoids that hit those levers that you need.
There is a
So how do
lot
I
of
do
help
that?
out there for you in
Yeah,
cannabis.
exactly. So it's kind of that healing, accepting the body knows better than we do sometimes.
Oh, that is so hard. Good way to put it, Lou. Accepting the wisdom of our bodies, or that they know better than our thinking all the time. And maybe our doctor.
No control.
Yeah.
Control. I can do it. I can tell my body what to do.
Well, good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 63. I got news for you. I can't tell my body what to do. Kathy every morning tells me what to do.
It tells
You
me
know?
what to do. I think it's like our brains are just like, it's kind of unfortunate that we have such a emphasis on our brains thinking and ego, because our bodies are hugely full of wisdom. We are absolutely always discovering. I swear to God, somebody will read me an article every week about like how somebody finally came to conclusion that their body's like acting before their mind is thinking, and that like the mind is the last one to know, the state of the emotional, adrenaline release that has happened or whatever. It's the last to know. It literally is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're already in
Oh, I
motion
did
before
that.
our
Well,
brains are thinking anything.
but we don't like saying that. We don't like realizing it and living with that. We keep on trying to get ahead of our bodies. More power to you. I'm trying to ride the flow with my body these days.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
trying to
not,
cooperate with my body, give it what it needs. It's smarter than
yeah.
me. You know what I mean? By a long shot. Was humbled before my body as a mother, which happened in my 20s. There was a moment when I realized, like, I was looking at my son's little ear. It was so perfect. And I was thinking, having actually tried ceramics class as a sculptor, like there's no way I could have made this ear ever. It like with my thinking and my hands, there's no way. Like his ear is perfect. And yet I know my body made this ear for him to start off with, and he's keeping it going, right? And that was a humbling moment before, God and the universe and my body for being better at things than I could ever dream, you know?
You
So
weren't conscious. You didn't tell your body to do that.
oh, I know, right, Dad? I was like, make this baby perfect, or I'm gonna have words with you. Like I
But
wish.
we don't stop and think about it that way. We keep on saying, "No, I'm in charge. I'm in control," and it's like,
Or even worse, how bad would it have been if my body had been like, sure, okay, you do it.
yeah, you want to talk about anxiety?
Yeah, right. Like
Yeah,
I don't think I can. I'm not ready for that, and I'm really glad that's not a choice because now I realize, no, I'm humble before my body. It's definitely
yeah.
than up here. Say thank God. for all the things
Let,
it can do
yeah,
and has done well, despite my whatever.
being thankful to the higher power,
Always, always.
you know,
Yes. Well, I'm
whatever
also,
you want to call it, however you want to look at it, there's something above and beyond and outside of us.
we're
And
grateful.
that's,
Without it, we
well,
wouldn't even be here to be having the fun we're having. And aren't we cool? We
yeah,
are the coolest.
way cool.
Yeah. So, as a returning homemade health student, kitchen witch, miracle maker, you have all the titles. You're needing to buy something from my Rep Your State of Mind brand. That's what you have to
Yes.
do in order to get into class this time. So there's the embroidery on this sweatshirt, the Love Rainbow Leaf sweatshirt. We have sweatshirts, hoodies. I know you like a good muscle tee, Lou. I got muscle tees. I
I
know you
want
like
some
a good,
hoodies.
you want some
Yeah.
hoodies. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got them for you at repyourstateofmind.com, everyone, where Lou shops, and you should too. If you want to normalize and destigmatize and represent healthy cannabis lifestyles out there in the world. I got to say, Lou, it's made me really happy to have figured out like to do this for you guys because returning students, you'd think that you, as a businesswoman, you just have this all figured out, but you just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. You got to figure it out. Let me know. Sell
I'll
it.
let you know when I've got it figured. I'll probably figure it out in class one of these days. But hey, guys, I got it. But yeah, having my Rep Your State of Mind merchandise and apparel brand has been really beautiful. And having you guys come through and purchase and wear and give as gifts to your neighbors and friends and stuff has been, or to wear to very important meetings. I've heard of this too, people who need to really represent because it's not really happening in their state, for example. It makes me happy, so happy. It like lights up my heart. And I know this was a good choice. I'm so grateful to my former self for setting all this up. It was a lot of work at the time, and I can't do it now, that's for sure. So I'm really grateful to old me because she did a great job setting all this up. And new me, like today, me is so happy with her and me and you because now I know you're going to buy some hoodies and wear them, and it's going to be amazing. That's what I want. You're going to go out there, and people are going to be like, hey, check out that guy's rad hoodie. Where do I get it? Thank you so much for coming on to the channel, Lou, and sharing about your experience in my class and our experience together, being like cannabis advocates and home healers of ourselves and those people around us too, and in our community. Do you want to tell anybody, maybe who do you think this class is for? Let's go out on that.
I think the class is really good for people who are hesitant, who have some anxiety or trepidation about getting into cannabis. It's not a cult. It's a very healthy, natural thing. We're friendly. We don't bite. You know, finding like-minded people that have give and take as part of their normal vocabulary is a very healing thing and a very positive thing. And being able to make mistakes and laugh about them and being able to make successes and share the joy is really, if that's what you want to be or who you think you are, I would say that the class is perfect for that. It's not it's a journey, not an answer. It's a journey.
Journey that we make better by taking it together, and we get stronger by being together. And for me, as your guys' teacher, I appreciate everything you bring to the class. And more than that, your I mean, I don't want to say disciples, but like your stewardship out out there where you are, since we are an online class and everyone's in a different place, the light that you are in your community doing your thing is everything to me. You know what I mean? Shining it out. Lou, thank you so much for being on the show with me and in my class. I can't wait for Friday when we start it all up again. I have buckets to do. You have a refrigerator to get through. 10 weeks is what we've got. See how
Thank you, Michelle. You've always made me feel welcome. You've helped me so much. Everybody has, and I really appreciate it. And I look forward to hanging out again.
Oh, me too, so much. All right, let's say bye to everyone and I'll end the recording. Bye.